Hey everybody, what's up? Today we're going to do something different. I'm going to tell you guys a story about this humble Ibanez Tube Screamer Mini. Now, ordinary as this thing looks, and as classic as these Ibanez Tube Screamers are, this one has an interesting story. This was a gift from Dan Gonzalez of Possessed. I was on the Possessed Oblivion Over Europe tour. I also played guitar in a band called Stoic Suffering on that tour, and I was Possessed Guitar Tech. So what happened was Dan started out using a Kemper floor profiler. I think it was this one right here. Yeah. And he was running that through the effects loop of a PV6505 Plus just to use its power amp to power a cabinet, because we mic'd that cabinet and we took a direct out from the Kemper as well. So I don't remember exactly where we were, but they had a power issue in the venue, and it took out his Kemper because it got stuck in a loading loop where it just kept trying to load the profiles, but it would start over again. So the thing quit working. And I had brought this fancy setup to do that tour for my instrumental music. I don't really use any effects at all. I don't use a delay or a reverb or a chorus on any of my leads, so it's something super simple. I had used this on the Vorath run previously I did with those folks on the East Coast tour, and this sounded really good. It sounds like a JCM 800 modified, of course, and it's a Paul Lander from Rammstein signature pedal, and it sounded pretty good. It's got a direct out, and most importantly, it fits in your carry-on. If you start traveling a lot to play shows or start doing fly gigs or anything like that, you're going to want to bring anything that has a small footprint, and it didn't sound bad. Also, this MXR noise gate worked pretty good with it too. At any rate, so I brought that to do this tour for my instrumental music. With Stoic Suffering, we were in a Neural DSP rig through a laptop. Anyway, so Dan's stuff quits working. He's using the PV with the MXR noise gate, and it's just not enough for him. He needs a boost, and so he bought this. And at any rate, Dan got his Kemper back, and he gave me this. Thank you, dude. I can't say anything highly enough about the Possessed guys. They're awesome people, legendary band, the originators of death metal, and they're awesome dudes. And thank you, Claudius, for letting me use your Kemper rig. It sounded 10 times better in that context, and I really appreciate it, dude. Anyway, so we get to Alcatraz Festival after Dan gets his floor controller back, I think, in one of the shows in Oberhausen. We were going to go by the plant, but I didn't have the Kemper plant, but I didn't have enough time to go with Dan because I had to get the back line set up at the club we were playing at. Anyway, so Dan gets his stuff back. Fast forward a few shows, and we're in Alcatraz in Belgium in Cotrigue, Belgium. At any rate, Claudius's Star guitar, what he was preferring on that tour, it sounded really good. It had a Kaler, and it just sounded mean. He also brought a ESP Arrow. Sounded really good too, and that guitar was built like a tank as well. Had a Floyd on it, and never had any problems with that guitar at all. So anyway, as we're getting ready to start the show, Claudius's guitar isn't working, and we're trying to figure out why. And simplest thing, the input jack had fallen into the guitar, and he couldn't plug his wireless in there. So I'm trying to find the nut for the jack. I'm looking all over the floor. Got a flashlight going. It's dark in there. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. There's a bunch of people standing around on this, on the backstage there. Everybody's getting ready to play. The guys from Dismember were there, which was really cool. I Am Morbid guys were there. Bill and Richie and David Vincent were all there too. So everybody's like standing around, like trying to find this needle in a haystack. And so I'm like, I have a great idea. I will run out to where the backline company has their van and ask them if they have anything in there. It's like if you're a mechanic or, you fix stuff, you have a junk drawer in your house where all the screws and nails and nuts and bolts and washers go when you're not using them, or a coffee can out in the garage or whatever. So I run back there saying, hey, I need a nut for this input jack. And I tried. One wouldn't work. And I thought, I left this pedal in Dan's Enki where his guitars were, just because I didn't have the time, or I forgot to put it in my own thing, in my own gig or pedal bag for my pedal, my pedal board. Anyway, so found this thing, took the nut off of there, and by golly, it fit. Crisis averted. I moved pretty quick, got that stuff dialed in, and then show starts. Before that show started, Claudius had asked me to change the strings on his guitar, both of them. And I thought, all right, no worries, cool. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, man, these strings that he got from some music store in, I think it was Czech Republic, didn't look very good, or they were Polish. I don't remember. And I think we got them in Poland, but I tried to like not put them on a guitar because they didn't look very good. And the strings we had were relatively new, but we were running low, and this was a big show, and we wanted to make sure everything was good to go and squared away. So anyway, I'm in the bus, in the galley there on the table, changing the strings on his guitar, and I'm like, man, these just don't seem like they're going to hold up. These guys, are using that whammy bar violently, and every time they did that, I would just sit there and cringe and go, man, I know something's going to break. I hope nothing breaks so we don't break a string. We have to, do all that, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I hit Claudius up and say, hey, dude, do you want me to change the strings on these guitars? They don't look like they're any better than what's on there, and they may potentially be worse. And he didn't respond to me right away, so I figured, all right, you know what? I'll change him anyway. He asked me to do it. He's the boss. No problem. Changed the strings, told him, hey, these strings may not be that great. And he said, well, we got to do what we got to do. And they're new, so let's give it a whirl. I said, cool, I already put them on there. We're good to go. So I put the strings on the Star guitar and left the ones that were somewhat newer on the Arrow, thinking, okay, if we break a string over here, the Arrow's got, higher quality strings on it. Yeah, we've used them on a few shows, but, if we're going to, let's give ourselves a fighting chance, because I didn't trust the strings that he had gotten because they were the only ones available. You got to do what you got to do. At any rate, so first or second song of the show, we're breaking strings. And okay, no worries. Just like I thought, the strings on the Star, they were junk and they broke. Two of them broke, or one of them broke. I don't remember how many broke, but we had a problem. So I brought Claudius the Arrow that had the older strings on it. And they were only a few shows. I think they were 2 shows old, but we wanted to change the strings because this is a big show and we don't want any problems. So anyway, in this, I couldn't find a video on YouTube of that issue the first time, but here is a video of Claudius playing the Arrow, breaking a string on it. And I thought this was kind of funny. So here we go. So they're rocking. And in this video, Claudius is going to walk towards me because he broke a string again. So this is the second time in the same show that this has happened on a different guitar. There he is, tearing it up, playing the rhythm while Dan plays the lead. And the lead that stormed in my mind is awesome too at the beginning of that song. It's pretty rad. Right here, he's talking to me. Walks over and says, hey man, we got a problem. So I'm sitting there, just changed the strings on that Star guitar after he broke one like a song before that. And in the video, you're going to see him walk out with that Star guitar. Everybody's like, is he ready to go? Didn't even skip a beat. That's how good these guys are. And shout out to Crispy Ralph, the drummer. This was the first tour he had ever done with Possessed, and he had joined like 2 weeks before, and he just crushed it. So there's Claudius playing the Star guitar right there. So that fast, man, I was ready to go. And, the change was made seamlessly as can be. It was literally that fast. I had thought, hey, the strings on the Star guitar aren't going to hold up, so we got the Arrow. But right away, broke a string on the Arrow. Luckily, I fixed the Star guitar, handed it right back to him. So when that happened, I was like, okay, well, I needed to be on the spot here because this is going to happen again. And it did. It happened again. And in this video, you will see him playing the Star guitar. And if you look, you can see me standing next to Matty Karki from Dismember. I'm just standing there waiting for it to happen again. And it was kind of funny, one of those moments where you're thinking, oh shit, here we go. So here we go. Check this out. So there's Claudius playing that Star guitar. There's Matty Karki. Dismember's an awesome band. They played after Possessed. It was really cool. And there I am right there just waiting. If you see me, standing there just waiting, going like this. Okay, here we go. Because I had changed the strings on that guitar, on those guitars 3 times in the same show. And as the show was winding to an end, Possess had time to do one more song. They had time to do an encore. And, the guitars broke a string at the last song. And Bobby's walking off his stage. He hands me his bass. I'm fixing the strings on the guitar because I figured, you know what, if they're going to play one more, I better get the other one ready to go. And it happened again. So I threw Bobby his bass. He went back on the stage, gave Claudius the guitar that I just fixed again, and they played the last song, and we got the hell out of there. And that was a really, 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 really stressful experience. I mean, when you're responsible to make sure the show goes on, you got to be there, Johnny on the spot. And so every night of that tour, I played 2 sets, and I was there as a guitar tech. So I never stopped moving. But I just thought it was really, really fitting to the end of that tour because there were some literal and figurative bumps in the road, as every tour is. Just bad luck, like getting lost or like driving under a bridge and like, oh, we can't go here because it's not enough clearance for the bus and having to turn around. Stuff like that. There's videos on my Facebook page where it shows like the bus driver getting crushed under the bus because the bus broke down and they had to tow it up this hill at a gas station with a Soviet era tank crawler from Afghanistan that they had turned into a hay hauler in Romania. And so, or not Romania, but Bulgaria. At any rate, so we had some ups and downs. Or the time when the air suspension went out on the bus, and so did the AC, and we were driving from, I think, Newcastle back to London, so the Possessed guys could catch a flight to go to Norway to do a festival there, while the rest of us stayed on the bus and went back into mainland Europe. I think we were going to meet them in Hamburg in a couple of days. But anyway, we got stuck at the Skanska place getting the bus fixed because it had a regulator or something had gone bad, so the air suspension didn't work, and we couldn't drive like that because we were literally slamming, jumping up and down in the bus. Like I remember sleeping in my bunk and being woken up because I was catching air, flying from, in between my bunk, the top of my bunk and the bottom. So that was pretty crazy. And we all were standing there. It was like Remy the Ancient Mariner, not a drop to drink. We had no water, couldn't roll the windows down. The emergency exits wouldn't open in the top of the bus. There weren't any, I don't think. Anyway, it was an experience. So I thought, what a fitting way to end that tour. Breaking all those strings, the Tube Screamer saving the day, more than once. And, it's a really, really cool gift. And I appreciate Dan for giving it to me. And, there was lots of cool stories. I'm going to do some more about my experiences on the road and experiences from this tour. I just want to say thank you guys for supporting the channel. Things are, going really, really good. I appreciate everybody's involvement. And as always, a like and subscribe is appreciated. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to check out my interview with Christian Munzner. I just posted that on Friday. And I'm going to keep making the interview thing a regular thing. Every Friday, you can expect another interview. Next Friday, I've got Joel Ullman's from Rings of Saturn, Enterprise Earth, Animation Sequence, and Extortionist on the show. And we talked about the tour we did that tour, the Cyber Shred tour I was on with Rings of Saturn. That was an awesome experience, and I was lucky enough to get to play with those guys on stage. And I think we played Faces Imploding. There's a video for it on YouTube. I'll put it in the video link in that interview. But anyway, so check out Possessed if you haven't heard them. Keep supporting my channel. I really appreciate it, and I hope to do a giveaway soon. I have a company sending me a product. We're going to do a review of it. And somebody's going to win a pair of these strap locks, and they seem to be pretty cool. So anyway, you guys have an awesome night, an awesome weekend. Check out all my new content, and keep rocking. Right on.